Well, good morning, everybody. What you see is my 2013 Chevy Express 1500. What that means is it's got a V8. It carries 2,000 pounds of load. Don't know what it tows yet because I don't even have a tow bar. But if you look up here, you will see all the wiring. It's kind of hard to see my solar panels, but I've used Internal Bond tape to put them on my roof so that I didn't drill any holes in it. I have one hole. All of this wiring that you see right in the middle there, it's where the hole's at. So let's walk up and let's see about this. So let's come back down. I am trying to show you my hole where everything goes in. I apologize for the shaking. So this is a basic setup. This is not a power station. This is just a basic setup if you wanted to set up your own. But first I think we need to, before we talk about any of this, and I'm really not going to be talking about setting up your own. I'm going to be talking about the panels and how they work with your generator. But I thought I would show you this diagram. This came with a set of host panels. So let's talk about panels. We're going to talk about watts divided by volts equals amps. You have 100 watts in one panel, and in Renogy, I mean, each one's different, but I'm going to say approximately 22.2 volts and 4.5 amps. Amps is like water flowing through a tube, okay, like to a faucet. So amps is the flow of electricity through your cables into your system. Watts divided by volts equals amps. So amps controls the flow. How many amps? The faster the flow. Experts out there, please, I'm just giving you a layman's thought process. I'm not an expert, will never be an expert. I'm just saying how I understand it. Now, with the 22.2 volts, that's all that would go in to your solar generator or your workstation. But if you combine two of these panels, you now have 44.4 volts. Each solar generator is turned down by so many volts. This 2000 Blvd needs over 44 volts to turn itself on, just to charge. So the volts turn on the system. The watts are what your appliances use to run, but the system needs the volts. And the amps is how much electricity is coming in through those volts and those watts. I don't know if that makes any sense to you or not, but we're going to keep talking. So this is a set of Y connectors, okay? This is for 3 series panels or just 3 simple parallel panels. So if you have parallel, that means it's a single panel to a single connection. So you could have 3 100-watt panels, and they would, let me show you, plug in to your solar unit. Now, I have an extra set of 3 because I started out with 3 without doing series. And here's a set of just 2. I don't even know if you can see them or not. Probably not. because they're all zip tied, so I don't really want to unzip tie them. Anyway, so as you can see, you're going to our cables. Now, if you decide female and male cables, depending on length, you buy it by length according to how long you're going to need. I have 25-foot cables, and that's for the suitcases. So if you decide to have a suitcase, then you need to buy these cables so you can have the suitcase out and the cables reach to your solar unit, which would be your power station or your solar generator, whichever you want to call it. So this generator only takes so many watts, so many volts, so many amps. And that's right in your brochures. Do you have to worry about this? Not really, other than to make sure you either put your panels in series or parallel. Parallel is when they're single, and each like a car, each at the stoplight, each one drives away at a different time. 10. Series means they all drive away at the same time, which means they've combined their volts and their amps to a larger amount to feed into your machine. And you just have to know what that amount should be. Now, the question of amps, volts, watts. Let's talk about your appliances. You have to look at what you want to use in order to figure out what size you need in a workstation. This is the really easy part. Every single appliance you use must have a label like this. And on that label, it must state what it uses. And here it states it. AC 120, 60 hertz, 1,000 watts. That's what you need to run this. Now, it only takes about 800 watts. So that 1,000 watts is really a surge. In other words, anytime you turn something on, it takes a higher wattage to turn it on. Then it runs at a certain wattage, but it needs a surge wattage. Just remember that. Every single appliance you have, look for this label. If you open up the box, let's see, get this one here, and it says 200, I don't know if you can see it, 260 watts. AC 120 volt, 60 hertz, 260 watts. Every single appliance is required to have that. So that's all you need to do, is look those up and add them up and say, well, you're not going to use them all at one time. If you do, then you got a problem. You need a lot of wattage. But if all you're going to do is use this for 10 minutes, no problem. You just have to figure it out. Look at the appliances you need, and your highest wattage is going to run that appliance. So this is something else you need to understand. This is, and the box states, a 700 watt microwave. Wrong. It's a 700 watt microwave cooking watts, not running watts. So it uses 700 watts to cook with, but the actual microwave uses 1,024 watts, and it says it on the label, but not on the box. Don't be fooled. So what's the answer? I hope this helped you a little bit. I'm going to talk about solar quite a bit in the future. I did give you 10 things that you should have, and I'm going to go into depth on all those 10 things. But I chose solar first because I have so many people who do not understand solar. We're going to continue to talk about solar. It's very important. If you want electricity, you want any kind of decent comfort. It is not cheap, but there are many solar units that are on sale. The new ones coming out, just like my wonderful refrigerator. It was the least expensive, but it runs a lot better than the one that was double the price. You never know what you're going to get. They say LiPo 4 is the longest. It gets the most charges. It lasts the longest. It probably lasts about 10 years. The other ones, they'll tell you how many charges they get. Like Jackery gets 2,000 or 3,000. Blvd gets 10,000. So that's when you're discharging, and then you're filling it up, and then you're emptying it, and then you're filling it up like your gas tank. That's called a charge. So you really don't have to worry about much. You look at the labels on your appliances. That's what you should be doing. Looking at the labels on your appliances. Saying, okay, when I use, what is the highest one you use? And you get a solar generator or a workstation that's 100 watts above or a few watts above. So you can run the highest wattage appliance in your van or your house. I'm not sure if I complicated it for you or I made it a little bit simpler. I'm trying to make it simple in my terms, and I am not an expert, but I've been using it for 3 years on the one. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped. Please subscribe. Please view and like. Thank you for watching. Tamara.